Forget trying to keep up with AI. It's moving too fast. It's time to think differently about it. Welcome to the AI Readiness Project, hosted by Kyle Shannon and Ann Murphy. They're here to help you build the mindset to thrive in an AI-driven world and prepare for what's next.
Ann Murphy.
Oh, hello, how are you?
I'm good. Listen, we gotta just start right off and just say, I want to get into the spirit of embrace the jank. We've had a janky start. We've had a
janky start.
Yeah.
Yep.
I logged out weird. I couldn't log back in weird. We got settings messed up. So everyone's trying to make it happen, and just janky software. This is the world we live in.
This is the world we live in. And this is why we always say you have to be curious and you have to be willing to be vulnerable. And you have to accept that this is the worst that it will ever be. And sometimes that is the whole genre, we feel like it should just work.
Oh, I'll tell you what, last night on my live, so we had the AI salon last night. It was lovely. We did a meet and greet. We met lots of lovely people.
I missed it again.
I know. It's painful, but it's okay. I know you don't love us. That's okay. Listen. So I go to my live after the salon, and just it was a combination of, not only did everything I tried not work, I had no patience for it. So you know how normally I'll just sort of blast my way through it?
Yeah.
It was a bitter, salty mess. So I think it's appropriate that this started out a little janky.
I think it is too. And I think that it's important to normalize that, because this is not a space where we want to act like, oh, no big. Like it's all just like smooth sailing. There are areas of our lives where we want to act like everything's fine, right? We want to be like the duck. We want to be the part above water while the other, while the feet are flapping around, nobody sees it. But in this case, it's better, I think, to just be honest that sometimes this stuff just doesn't work the way you want it to. And there are going to be days where you're hangry, you're underslept, you haven't exercised, and you just want things to work.
Yep.
And you're live. That's the best, it's hilarious. You're live in front of the world, and, it's a little stressful.
Exactly. Well, so that's where we are in the moment. But let's dig into how ready for AI are we this week. It sounds like you've had some interesting meetings this week.
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of what we're going to talk about here today, this sort of new reframing of how to think about prompting and thinking about AI. So I'm kind of swimming and stuff, but you gave some presentations. I'm curious, where are you this week with your AI readiness?
Where I am this week is I'm having sort of an attack of mama bear, and just really being worried about my friends, my colleagues, people in my industry who aren't yet getting off the sidelines to the level that would satisfy me.
Yeah, well, which would be everyone jumps in and joins.
Which would be everyone jumps in. But it feels like what I'm not hearing is ongoing objections. When we talk about the ethics of AI, we've been able to clear those, right? To some extent. There's a lot of stuff. A lot of, the parade of horribles is real. There are a lot of bad things, but we clear those and we start talking about actually implementing AI as individual contributors, let alone enterprise adoption. And, I have nice conversations, I do these presentations, I do these small trainings, and we're in conversation, things are going well. If I didn't know better, I would think I'd converted everybody in the room, right? It's like, oh yeah, da-da-da. But, I put QR codes on all of my things, and I invite people to download stuff and to connect with me on LinkedIn and to use my DMs as their personal AI help desk. And when I go and I look at the clicks and the downloads, like not very many people are taking me up on it. It may be that they just want to tinker on their own and they don't want my 105 words that AI has ruined, so that you can upload those and not sound like a ninny, right? I don't know, but it worries me because how are they learning if they're not in a community and they're not willing to spend time and they're not like willing to download a resource? Like, I just have been in this mama bear mode of I'm just worried about my friends who are going to lose their jobs or whose
Yeah.
jobs become so unrecognizable and they won't like those jobs.
Yeah.
So I'm just worried on their
I
behalf.
mean, what pops to mind for me, so I've been thinking a lot about this as well. And the only thing that pops to mind for me, like one of the things I'm experiencing with Storyvine is that people are overwhelmed with their jobs. And if AI, getting a little echo, if AI lands as, oh, this is another thing I have to learn to do my job, then it's another thing on top of a job, as opposed to where a lot of us started with this stuff was just start playing with it. Play
Yeah.
first, right? So that the thing we talk about in the salon, play first, start with that. Like maybe there's something there where they're seeing it as, oh, this is something I have to do, and something I have to do overwhelms me, and I'm just like, how about I'll get laid off. That would be better than me having to deal with anything right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
We're the worst at predicting what future self needs. Right?
Yeah.
We're horrible at it. This is like a thing. We're horrible at knowing what future self needs, probably including a job.
Yeah.
And most of us need jobs. Not everybody. I understand. Some people work for fun. But most of the people I know in my field are working for money. And I wonder if I were in their shoes, it would just take half a day. You know, maybe if their bosses or their
You know
work
that. You know that.
I know that. They
You
don't
know that.
how do I make it clear enough though?
I don't know. Well, you know what? So maybe as I walk through Feed Your Prompt today.
Yes.
So one thing. Oh crap! I'm late. Vicky's late. Let's just call it out. To be clear, Vicky's late. It's okay, Vicky. We started janky. We started late because I logged out of something to try to fix something, and then I tried to log back in. So it's okay. We'll forgive you. Working for fun in the 1970s. That's great. And then Rick McCauley's this is I think a lot of what's going on. So the fact that someone could get up to speed in 4 hours, in half a day, if someone's in cognitive overload, then that's not going to feel like a reality to them.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's not going to feel real.
The other thing is, how do we... ChatGPT's been out for 2.5 years now. And everyone predicted, oh, it's going to eat all the jobs. It's going to eat all the jobs. It's going to eat all the jobs. Hasn't eaten all the jobs yet. It's eaten some jobs, but not all of the jobs, right? And there hasn't been kind of big news headlines that, oh, the jobs are going away. So maybe there's a sense of security that, oh, it's going to be okay. This actually, that AI stuff, it's going to be like NFTs. It's just a fad. It's not going to take my job.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just, Anne's great. Yeah, she really inspired me. You know what? I'll do that next month.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe that's part of it too, that there's not a sense of urgency of what's coming. I don't know. Like, I got nothing.
So this vignette, yeah, 100%, Rick. I will share this vignette with so much compassion for the person who shared it with me. It was shared in a public setting, so hopefully that's okay. Their institution has just signed a contract with OpenAI. They're one of those.
Mm-hmm.
And this person has never logged into ChatGPT.
And they just signed a deal with
OpenAI. That's the reality of it. And I know that they are in the cognitive overload reality. So if that doesn't get somebody, is it just, yeah, I think you're right. I think people don't feel the pain enough yet when their phone stops ringing and when they see PD position descriptions that include, you've got to be AI ready, they'll probably use AI literate or competent or whatever words the HR group comes up with. But maybe at that point it'll sink in. I wonder how many people think they will ride it out to the end of their career.
Well, there could be that, right? Well, I've only got 5 years left till retirement. Maybe it won't hit until then. There could be some of that.
Yeah.
Boy, I just don't know. There was a PwC jobs report that came out this week. And one of the findings in it that I thought was interesting, one was like, this is going to decimate knowledge jobs. Like there was some bad news in there. Some of the short-term good news is that AI literate employees on average had a 56% higher salary than non-AI literate employees. So there it's telling you the market right now is valuing AI literacy or AI readiness, let's call it, because literacy is a fallacy at this point. They're valuing someone being AI forward as a 50% more valuable employee than not. So if nothing else, like maybe just do the selfish thing of like, hey, maybe if I learn AI, I can get moved into a role where it pays more or something like that.
Maybe that. I mean, people do, want raises and need raises. So there's that. There are also the people who are kind of like root bound in their careers. There isn't the next level job. They could add AI to their repertoire and become that person and make more money and have more responsibility. Isn't it funny how in our careers, especially in employee life, you're like, I just want more responsibility. You know what I mean? Like, I just want more work to do. Isn't it weird?
Yeah.
So maybe AI and making life slightly easier and being a better collaborator and doing your best work and doing things faster, maybe it's not motivating enough. And I do understand, like I've had tech rollouts that kind of like happened to me before where you're just kind of annoyed and it's just like a thing you have to do. And you're like eye rolling about like the middle managers telling you to do stuff. But the fact of the matter is job loss, unfortunately, is a short to medium term reality. And they're going to have to hang around till things get better again. So I have a lot of compassion for it. And also, as you know, I know you've been here before where it's a little bit just like exasperating.
Yeah.
You get tired of the gassing people up to use AI. It does take a lot of empathy units to do that.
That's good. I like the term empathy units. It does. It takes a lot of empathy units. And it's almost worse than just like, I'm not ready for it. It's almost like there's an active resistance to learning it, right? And that starts to become, right, upskill USA. Yeah, exactly.
Upskill USA. The other thing is, okay, and this is just like, I am sharing this total vulnerable moment that I'll be in sessions and I feel like I'm crushing it. Like I'm telling people all the things. I've got my slide deck that I've used for training 4,000 people. Everything is beautiful. And someone will raise their hand and they'll go, where can we go to get training for this? And I'm like, I literally can't even say without sounding so condescending, like, who TF do you think I am? Like, I have 140 women who would train you in a second.
You see them? I'm training you right now.
Where I know all the things, like, here's
Wow.
my email, here's my text, and I'm just like, maybe there's something fundamentally about humanity that I don't understand. And now we've entered into Anne's therapy session of the AI Readiness Project. But yeah, exactly, Anne. Risk reward in the decision-making process. Pain of change isn't big enough yet. Yes, Rachel, absolutely.
And that's the thing. I think that's where your mama bear comment about being heartbroken that, listen, I don't want you to have to get laid off to get that this is a big deal, right?
Yeah.
And yet it's kind of what they're choosing to do. That said, so today's going to be a bit different. We don't have a guest today. I'm in the middle of working on a new brand, a new framework for how to think about AI, how to approach AI. and how to have AI effectively function as a superpower, like a jetpack, right?
Yes.
And so I've been thinking a lot about this stuff, and I think we'll go through it. So we're gonna jump in here in a second, and I'm gonna walk through it. I think what I'd like to do, Anne, is rather than me just giving the talk, because I'm in the middle of writing it, I think what might be good is I'll sort of give the talk of a slide. And then if you're like, yeah, makes sense, just move on, great, I'll move on. But if not, like if there's something to talk about or you have questions, maybe as we go through it, just ask me and I'll unpack stuff as we go through.
Perfect.
Does that work?
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't know that this solves in any way some of the resistance that you're feeling, but where I am what I am trying to do with this framework is make AI personally relevant to every person in the room.
Yes.
Not just saying this technology is going to change things and you should learn it, but more, here's what's in it for you. And so maybe if we can go through this today, and anyone who's watching, feel free to pop things in the comments. We'll look there as well. I'd love to just get some feedback on, is it working?
Yeah. One of the things I really like about Feed Your Prompt, and what I've heard you talk about so far, and what I heard today from someone, was the people who are quote unquote good at AI are the ones who figure out how to put context in. And that is exactly what you're talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you put your own special you-ness into AI, and as a result get much? I think what you're going to be talking about is, how to amplify your own very own self.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let me jump in. So
Okay. Oh,
so where do we start? For the past, let's call it 2 years. No, for the first 2 years since ChatGPT came out, I was asking this question: how do I get the most out of AI? And what that looks like is, well, I learn the tools and I learn prompt engineering and I learn this and I keep up with the tools and then I'm going to get the most out of AI, and then I'll get the most out of AI, and that's going to be good. I don't think that's the right question. What's hit me, what happens, you and I experience in our communities on a regular basis, people whose lives are fundamentally transformed because of how they've engaged with AI.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that suddenly hit me in the past, it's been forming in the past 6 months, and it's come into focus in the past month and a half, is this. Start asking the question, how do I get the most out of myself with AI?
Yeah.
And this is where I think it starts to change. I think what happens in our communities is that people have instinctively gotten to this place. When you start playing with AI and you're willing to go past it being a little janky, then what you instinctively do is say, well, no, I don't like that answer. I want an answer that's more like how I would think about it. And then it will say to you, well, how do you think about it? Right. And it sort of forces you down the path of talking about yourself, your point of view. And so I think if you can start with this thing of, how do I get the most out of myself with AI? It's a very different framing, and your relationship with the tool shifts. So this idea of the prompt being hungry, I think one of the expectations that I've seen in the world is that AI is a genius. And what I mean by that is, I think people have the expectation that no matter what they put into it, what they're going to get back is brilliance. And what they get back is like a generic, disappointing thing. They're like, well, I could have written that better. That doesn't sound like what I sound like. And so they say, oh, I tried ChatGPT. It didn't work. Because I think the expectation is that it's a genius. I don't think it's a genius. I think what AI is an amplifier. And the prompt is hungry, and no matter what you feed it, it's going to reflect that back at you. So if you put in a prompt that's cold and generic, you're going to get back cold, disappointing results. But we get to choose what we have it amplify. So if you put in yourself, your point of view, it will amplify you. And that's what this whole thing is about. So I've coined what I'm calling an it prompt. When you treat AI like an it, like this tool off to the side, and you just say, make me a LinkedIn post about job loss. It will make you a LinkedIn post about job loss, but it will feel cold and generic and disappointing. But when you put in a you prompt, when you feed it you, that's when generative AI wakes up and it amplifies your genius. And so what does that mean? Put you in there. Well, put in your ideas, put in your challenges, your questions, your point of view, your personality. Yeah. And so that's the big idea is how do you feed the prompt? So thoughts, questions?
Well, I was just thinking back to how I became integrated with AI, and it was because my brain wasn't working very well at all because I had long COVID.
Oh, wow. That's right. I remember you telling me that.
Right. And the only way for me to be able to do jack squat to launch a whole company and like figure out my life as an entrepreneur and blah, 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 was for me to use AI like a second brain.
Mm-hmm.
And so instinctively I was like, and also, and here's something you need to know, because I literally couldn't do it myself.
Yeah.
And I wonder if we like removed our egos from it. Because I was kind of decimated. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't.
Well, you weren't in a place where your ego was in the fight.
My ego wasn't. Yeah,
right. You were clinically. Your ego was clinically removed, right?
My ego was clinically removed, and I was like, mercy, please, someone, Sam Altman, God, universe, I don't know, fairy godmother, somebody help me.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I was willing to just say all the things in hopes that something would come back that I could use. And
right. And you instinctively discovered a place. Okay. So this is good. So let me put two example prompts here. So an example of an it prompt would be something like write a blog post for designers, right? It will write a blog post for designers. But now imagine the result you're going to get back from ChatGPT if you put in this prompt. I'm a confident early career coach that used to be insecure. Write a blog post in my voice for entry level designers focusing on confidence using a tone that's warm but direct, right? So if you put in a prompt that gives the context of who you are and your point of view, you're going to get back something that is much closer to who you are, right? And so that's kind of the shift here. So what I'm about to shift into, the presentation is about half baked right now. I've got a whole new idea here. So what I'm about to walk through is the first 3 stages of a 5-stage experience. And hang on, I think I want to show you. I'm going to show you a slide that's not ready yet, but I actually think it's really important. And it's this one. Can you see that? I can't see. Oh, no. Oh, I see. I changed something here. Hang on.
Reg GFX left a comment. AI hallucinations, prompts without a process. Exactly. If you want to live in confabulation, land, use crummy prompts. Don't tell it anything. If you don't want to have confabulations, then write a good prompt, give it context, and then also, if you're the human in the loop or the expert in the loop, you're going to know. You're going to see those. So many people think that they shouldn't use AI because of hallucinations. Honestly,
have you ever talked with a human being? They just flat out lie.
Exactly.
So I'll talk about this. But I wanted to. So this slide isn't really baked yet. But but I'm about to go into a 5-step process for how to be really intentional with AI. Okay. What hits me though is, okay, as human beings, there's some interactions we have where you're like in the grocery store and you just meet a stranger and you're like, oh, hey, how's it going? Oh, I'm doing really good. Right. It's a very low level kind of crappy interaction. Right. You can absolutely have low level crappy interactions with AI. Sometimes you just want to log into ChatGPT and go, oh, make me a haiku about whatever. I don't care. Right. That's sort of like eating Skittles. They're not nutritious. They're tasty, but they're hollow. Then there's other times where you're like, I want to log in with AI and maybe do something. And that's kind of more of an appetizer. You're sort of a deeper level of engagement. And then, you sort of get to the meal and that's like, okay, I want to actually get something done here. And what I'm about to talk about goes sort of a step beyond this, which is more like a feast where you're gonna log in and you really want to get something done and you really want to have it be there. And so that's what I'm about to walk through, this 5-step process. But I think we sometimes conflate. You've got this incredibly powerful tool that can solve PhD level problems. Sometimes you just want Skittles. You don't need to solve PhD level problems, and that's okay. So what I'm about to talk about is when you're sort of at a deeper level of engagement. So that's this slide is kind of turned off for the deck, but okay. So step 1, I'm calling set the table. And this is the thing that was inspired by CJ Fletcher, which is sit down at your prompt. The first thing you do, right? If we're gonna take this food metaphor all the way down, first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna set the table. So you're gonna think about, okay, what do I want the experience to be like tonight? Who's gonna be at this table? What do I want them to eat? What kind of experience do I want them to have? So if you sit down at your prompt, before you start typing and dive in, ask yourself, well, what do I want out of this, right? What do I want to generate? Who's it for? What are my goals, right? So step 1 is actually to know what you want. One of the biggest disappointments with AI is people sit down and maybe in their head they know what they want. They type in a prompt and it gives them something that's not even close and they give up.
Yeah.
Because they haven't really thought about what is it that they want in this session. So that's kind of step 1. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Step 2 is like the ingredients. The ingredients for the for the prompt, right? And you might have, and the metaphors here are kind of wrong, but your ingredients are like, okay, I want this to be a marketing plan and I want it to be for this kind of audience and that kind of thing. You can start with really simple prompts or you can get more sophisticated. And we'll talk about that. But kind of step 2 is once you understand what you're trying to accomplish, then you can say, okay, my core ingredient here is chicken, right? And then I've got these other ingredients I'm going to put in that make it special. And I've got these spices and those other ingredients might be things like who's the audience? What are the goals? What's the output type? Things like that. And so the step 2 is to actually craft the prompt, to think about the prompt. Make sense?
Yep.
And then stage 3 is not to expect the result of that prompt to be done. that what you actually are entering into is a collaboration. So if we take the restaurant metaphor, it would probably be Gordon Ramsay instead of Rick Rubin. When you enter into a collaborative relationship like this, you're the chef. And we've all seen The Bear, right? The restaurant show, The Bear, right? Or we've seen Gordon Ramsay. What does everyone in the kitchen always say? Yes, chef. Yes, chef. What the chef is doing. So you're the chef, and AI is your sous chef. And so you've thought about what you've wanted. You've put in a prompt, and now it's generated something. And then now you interact with it. You interact with it like a collaborator, like a producer, like you're the boss, you're the chef. No, that's not quite what I wanted. Yes, chef. Oh, you burned the onions. That's awful. Yes, chef, right? So you get to now tell AI what it's done good, what it's done bad, and you don't have to settle for what it gave you. You enter into this collaboration. And there's another piece of this that is sometimes if the sous chef burned the onions, right? They were just supposed to caramelize them, but they burned them and they got crispy. And then Gordon Ramsay picks it up and he's like, "What is this crap? You burned the onions." And then he bites them and it's kind of tasty. And it's like nothing he's ever tasted before. He's like, "Wait a minute, this is maybe not bad." Burn the onions on purpose, and let's try to build that in. So one of the joys that happens with AI is it gives you something and you get a happy accident. And as the chef, as the producer, as the Rick Rubin, you can go, "Oh, that's a happy accident. Let's run down that rabbit hole and see how it goes." So now you're in the sort of preparing the meal.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And then when you get it to where you want the steps 4 and 5 that I don't have slides for, step 4 is, okay, now that you've got what you want, you refine it and plate it, right? Which is maybe I take the images that were created and I go into Photoshop and make them better, or maybe I put all these ideas into a PowerPoint. I'm going to go present, whatever was created to the world. I'm going to put it in the actual email that I'm going to send out. And then step 5 is talk about what you learned, right? The learn out loud piece.
Yeah.
Say, "Hey, I just had this really remarkable interaction with ChatGPT, and we're off to the races, and it did really good at this, it did really bad at that." And what you're doing in sharing it with the world is you're establishing yourself as an expert. You've got some credibility, things like that. So those are the 5 steps. So step 1, think about what you want. Step 2, craft a prompt that is all the ingredients you need to have that meal that you want. 4 is this 3 is this collaborative phase, back and forth with the chef. "Yes, chef. Yes, chef. Here's everything that you need." And then put it all together and put it in the world, and then talk about your experience. So that's kind of the new thinking. And then the other thing that I'm thinking about with this presentation is the ability to the way it's set up right now. This is for an individual to experience AI and to experience it in this less machiney kind of way, in this more amplifying kind of way. You could also do that for a team. So rather than saying, "Here's what I want," you could say, "Here's what my team needs. Here's what my company needs," right? So you can take that same personal point of view and put it in a we format. And now all of a sudden you're getting that same personal benefit and the same control that you get when you're doing it individually, but you can now do that for your team or your company.
Yeah. And that's like building the recipe that's going to stand the test of time, but that like each person may add their own little flair to it.
Well, and there might be multiple people working, right? If you're doing a little dinner for 2, that's very different than I'm doing a dinner for 1,000, right? Like it's going to be a completely different, more complicated mechanism, but you can still take the same very personal point of view approach. And then this is basically it. When you feed your prompt with purpose, personality, and potential, when you feed it it will change, amplify your genius.
Yep. So everything about this, I think, makes so much sense. And I love that it's a metaphor that everybody can understand. And it's such an important distinction between treating it like a genius and treating it like a collaborator, something that is hungry for background context. They want to do a good job, right? Like the super smart intern metaphor. Like they're going to run through a wall for you, but you can't, like they could do so much damage if you don't tell them what to do. I feel like there's maybe another part of the metaphor, which is like if let's say you're like, "Yeah, I'm going to go try some different kinds of food." And you go to Baja Fresh to do that. Like you're going to get something yummy. There's no question. We all probably have our favorite things at different fast casual restaurants. But let's say somebody gives you a gift certificate that expires at the end of the month for like the French Laundry or Zuni Cafe or like, whatever, some fancy multi-course, over the top, just delicious place. Everything is ridiculously expensive. You would never go there.
Right.
But you knew that you had to spend the money. You had to spend the gift certificate. So you're like, well, I'll just order the left side of the menu, right?
Yeah.
It's like that because we've talked about before, like I feel that one of the limitations with people feeding their prompt is that they've never been asked for their input, for their context, for their perspective, point of view, personality. Like they've come up in a setting where their context was not important to anybody, wasn't part of the plan. And so if you think about, there's some kind of like a mental shift, mindset shift toward, you can have the multi-course meal. You can have the most delicious dessert if you want it, but you have to ask for it. And here's how you ask for it.
Yeah.
And you deserve it. You deserve to have this delicious thing. So tell us all the things so you can get it.
Well, I wonder if this is the thing where this is part of the code I haven't cracked yet. And Kelly Camp talks about this a lot. You and I have talked about this a lot. I think that it is impossible to describe to someone what the feeling is like when you have that Kevin McAllister moment with AI. When you have that moment where you're like, it can do that. It's impossible to describe that to someone in a way that they will experience that revelation, right? And so your point about, listen, someone could experience, someone could transform themselves in 4 hours. They could learn enough about ChatGPT to totally transform themselves. In that 4 hours, they would likely experience some Kevin McAllister moment, this aha moment, right? What I don't quite know is how to make it, sort of instantly apparent that it can change someone's life. I was talking to someone today that's working with me on this branding stuff, and they said she was asking a question. She was asking a clarifying question about, like, why am I doing this? What am I trying to frame? And she was starting to get it, and she goes, I've got a friend, and she's going through a phase right now with her son where he won't eat anything round.
Oh my God, poor honeys.
Which I thought, oh my God, that's perfect, right? Because that is exactly the kind of thing where you could go into ChatGPT and you could say, I'm a mom. This has been going on for 6 months. I'm at my wit's end. My son won't eat anything round. Here are the things that are out of bounds. Here are the things that are in bounds. Like, give me a strategy and give me a shopping list for the week, right? Like, that is totally something ChatGPT could instantly get. So like I'm either thinking that what needs to be a part of this presentation is examples like that, or just do some danger living and bring someone up on stage, and maybe bring someone up on stage who is a skeptic. And just learn something about them and learn someplace that they're stuck. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And how do you do that? How do you, because how that saying about aspirin versus vitamins, like, people want aspirin. They don't want vitamins. Vitamins, we kind of sort of think they work. Like, you can kind of tell when you're taking them, maybe. I don't know.
Oh,
I can't.
Yeah.
So omega 3s and whatnot, like, they're expensive. I don't know.
$45 for one of 17 supplements I need? How about no?
I know, exactly.
How about I'll just be deficient in that? Yeah.
Right? I mean, I've done it before, and they don't make pill boxes big enough for the number of vitamins we're supposed to eat.
Exactly.
But when I have a headache and I take the aspirin and I feel better, it's like, now I understand.
Yeah, and maybe that's it. Maybe there's some way about connecting. Like, the promise of this approach is, if you learn to feed your prompt you will get superpowers, which sounds good on a t-shirt, but it's like, what does that actually mean? And I think it's like, could we actually show someone getting superpowers in real time, right? If we brought that mom up on stage and she's like, yep, I'm exasperated, here's the thing. And we just went into ChatGPT Live and said, okay, come up with a non-round menu. and bang, out come recipes, out come the right foods to buy, out come how to prepare them. And then just ask her, would this make you look like a superstar, to your son? She would be like, oh, yeah. And that's a lot like, I can just go do this now. All right. Yeah. I'm ready to go to the store right now. Right. So,
well, but however, I think an example of your progression from Skittles, which my mouth still waters every time, even though I've already seen the Skittles. Now I say it. I'm Pavlov's dog. Now my mouth starts watering again. Skittles through appetizer through meal. The Skittles version is send me non-round foods. The appetizer version is sent my son, you are a wonderful chef for children with eating peculiar specificity, whatever. The thing of the day is no round foods. Also, keep in mind, I've already tried all square foods. So don't send me, square foods aren't as interesting to my son. Other shapes are good. And by the way, if it includes a vegetable, all the better.
well,
And
but that could be a thing. I still want him to eat nutritious. I still
yes,
like I want
the
creative
context.
solutions, right? Yeah.
The context. I've already tried baked chicken. It doesn't work. So, he seems to like some meat if it's stewed or whatever, like, so that then you're going to pop out, a solution that is like, oh, that's something that she hasn't tried yet that fits with all the context that she gave it. Versus if people say, send me non-round foods, they're going to get foods that they're not round. It's true. They're definitely not round, but they may not be right up her son's alley. But if she feeds her prompt, very much more likely.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And she was saying it was like a very peculiar kind of round, like hamburgers were out.
Right?
But like maybe an orange was in if it was cut right or something like that. So, anyway, but there could be, because if you think about AI as what that mother might have heard is, oh, ChatGPT can make recipes. And she's like, oh, okay, great. It can make recipes. Do you know I'm dealing with a kid here that won't eat round food? Like I don't care about your stupid ChatGPT, right? Because I don't care if it can make recipes. That's not what I'm dealing with right now.
Yeah.
So then maybe part of it is, well, but you could, if you fed it it would give you the thing. And what you're talking about is if you give it more and more context, your solution will get better and better and better. So I think there's something about, either is there an example or two that are so crystal clear that it makes it apparent for someone, how to put their context, whatever they're trying to accomplish, into this thing. Or just design into the presentation, we're going to do it live. We'll do it live.
So one of the things that I notice when I do, like, hey, tell me what's on your to-do list. What's a big project? What's a deliverable that you're working on? People will automatically break it down to tasks, right?
Mm-hmm.
They'll be like, oh, well, I have to write a letter.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, well, for what? And they're like, well, we're having this big event with all these elected officials and blah, 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 blah. And I need to recruit them, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, well, your desired outcome is actually having that person there to deliver a speech that motivates your audience to take action, which is vote or something like that.
And that's step one of this 5-step process. Step one is, don't get out of the tasks for a minute.
Yeah.
And figure out, what are you trying to accomplish? Right.
So Luisa Milano, she taught me, don't stop thinking about how, not with AI, but in general, in life. Don't worry about the how. The how will figure itself out. But if you are focused on the how, you're not going to get that big, dreamy vision. You're going to get this, smaller, less impactful version of stuff. So like, it's kind of like that with AI. Like, you don't have to tell it how. You just have to tell it about it.
this thing Steve-O just put, I just ramble into the chat hole, let ChatGPT figure it out. We go back and forth till it works. And I always ask, what would you change to make it better? Right. That's that idea of treating it like this collaborator in the kitchen. Right. And it really I think the chef metaphor is a good one, because the yes chef thing, I feel like ChatGPT is very much, yes, chef, what can I do for you? What can I do for you? What can I do for you? And if you just keep, sort of meandering your way towards something, especially if you know what it is, you will get there.
You know how sommeliers will talk to you about your palate and like where the whatever terroir and all those words. They're kind of a consultant, right?
I
About
don't
it.
know
They're
that word.
learning
I don't know terroir.
terroir. It has something to do with soil,
I do
I
not
think,
know.
or hills. I don't know, one or the other. But a sommelier draws that information out of you. Their job is to make sure that you don't send back a $1,000 bottle of wine because they poured a centimeter of it and you didn't like it because they forgot to talk to you about the terroir. So if you kind of think about it as AI is a little bit like the sommelier, in order to give you a recommendation that you really like, that's a home run, that's Kevin McAllister, you have to confess, you have to tell them what you need, what you like, what the story is, right?
Yep.
Maybe one time you went to a wedding and you drank way too much frozen rosé, and you just can't drink that anymore.
Right.
They need to know that. And ChatGPT or AI in general needs to know the backstory. Yeah. Give me 3 options. Yeah, Rick, I do that. And I also do the thing at the end where it asks you, ask what you didn't think of. I like that, Rick. I also do ask me 3 questions, one at a time, to help us be successful in this project. Because I forget to tell them stuff,
Yeah. What was that one? Oh, terroir, kind of territory where wine came from, just in case you wondered.
There we go.
See?
I did wonder. My husband would die. He's a wine snob. I don't listen. My brain turns off. It's like giving me directions.
Yeah.
When you talk about wine, I'm just like, zoop. No longer listening.
Are you pouring it yet? No, I'm good.
So what else about Feed the Prompt? What are you going to do with this information that you're working on?
It's going to become a book. It's going to become a keynote. I'm working with this branding agency, and their whole thing is you get to sort of this core essence that is the start of everything. And so Feed the Prompt is that thing. And then everything else flows out from that.
Ooh.
And so it is a very non-ADD kind of approach.
Yeah.
Because my approach would be, all right, I'm excited about Feed the Prompt this week, but next week it's going to be ski over your tips. And then the next week it's going to be boat in rough seas.
The box metaphor.
Box metaphor, right? Like it's always some new thing. And so this is a new approach for me to like take a single thing, really refine the crap out of it, and then have everything flow out of that.
Yeah, that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah. And what I'm excited about is it very much starts with the individual, but it scales out to the team. Yeah. And then this can be, deep training all sorts of stuff can come out of this. So
nice.
But again,
I like it.
I think the thing of, and this goes back to the very beginning of the conversation where you started with your colleagues that are kind of not stepping up to this, is how do we get people from seeing AI as a thing that they have to deal with, as opposed to a thing that they're lucky enough to get to use, right? Like if you know that this tool is going to amplify who you are, and it's going to make all of your ideas bigger and better, and you're going to be able to start a business, you're going to be able to keep that job, you're going to be able to do all the stuff you wanted to do. Like, how do we get people in touch with that and not feel like it's this non-human? It's not a human thing, but it's an amplifier. It's an amplifier of you. but only if you treat it that way. I don't know. I don't have the answer yet.
Okay, well, here's one thing. It is a bit of an antidote to perfectionism in that it's going to allow you to do the very best work of your life. So if you're like, or maybe you're an external validation person, right? So let's say you're wanting a client, you're wanting your boss, you're wanting somebody to be like, wow, that
Mhm.
person produces amazing work product. This is how you're going to do it. You're going to create the most amazing work product. You're going to move the needle for people. You're going to take all of your expertise, the hard won expertise, and now you're going to take it to the next level, which you thought you could never possibly do. Like
Yep.
so many, well, the Gen Xers, right? We've got 20, 30 years of subject matter expertise. What more do we have to learn in our fields?
Yeah.
Not that much.
Yep.
But you take AI and all of a sudden you've got this new reservoir of excellence. So for the people who are like type A, right, who have always gotten A's, who can't accept a B, who can't accept a B minus, right? For those people, like this is how you're going to get to the very tippy top of self-actualization, right? Is by being able to do the very, very best work that you've ever done. Also, if you like money,
But a lot of what you're talking about, though, is self-starters, entrepreneur types. Like, how does this translate to someone, to your point, who's never given their point of view, who doesn't know, who's not ambitious? They just want to keep their job. How do we get them excited about it? I don't like. That's the piece. This does require some level of ambition, some level of curiosity. So is there a way, maybe this is a question I need to ask myself as I'm working on this. Is there a way to get someone who is either completely unaware of that AI is even here, or they're actively against it? How quickly can I get them from no or I don't care to, that's interesting. I'd like that.
Yes.
Right? Like, I feel like, what is the shortest distance between, to your point, sommelier starts talking and you're like, I'm out. The minute someone starts talking about AI, they're like, I'm out. I'm here because the boss told me to be here, right?
Yeah.
How do we get those people in that room within 5 minutes to be on the other side of that? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know yet.
Pamela makes a really good point in the comments. And I know kind of the context of what she's referring to. Once worked in a role where requirements where she had to, the people had to say what they thought they needed. People struggled to articulate it. And for those of us who do this kind of stuff for a living, we know that what people want is very far often from what they need. So getting people to think about that and articulate that is challenging. But yeah, I think time to value, and it's got to be really a light lift. I don't know. But on the other hand, you know what? Don't you think people who are starting out with AI, we're used to valuing things that are hard. If it's hard, it's good. If it's easy, it's bad.
I think absolutely. I think this is industrial revolution hangover. If it takes you 4 hours to do something, it is worth more money than if it takes you 5 minutes.
Right.
And I think that is I think that could be a thing when they're like, oh, if you're saying AI can do it in 5 minutes, then I know it's not worth anything because I know that this takes me 4 hours, little missy.
Yes.
Right?
Yep. Yeah. Vicky's like, sell a solution. Absolutely. I think so. I heard the other day, this woman, her is Kristen Tippett. She's like a kind of a meditation, like her podcast is called On Being, and she's pretty famous. She's been around doing this stuff since the beginning of time. But she also knows a lot about technology. And like she interviewed Reid Hoffman. And during that conversation, she was talking about how she feels like AI is really a placeholder term. Like
Oh,
we're,
well,
it's we use that as like the thing, the protagonist, and really it's just a solution. We're really selling the solutions, and we're trying not to sound like charlatans when we do.
but I made all these arguments about the web in 1995. In fact, I went on a campaign to try to change the language of the web and not call them web pages, because
Oh,
if you call them web pages, people are going to design pages. But if you call them things like entrances, you're going to design a space. People still call them pages. So
yeah.
I think what we should call AI versus what people will call it, like, I think that ship has sailed.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if we can get them to associate AI is this magical thing that gives me superpowers, and that, like, is there a way to say this is this is actual magic? Is there a way to say that this is, like, superpowers are not fictional anymore? I don't know.
I feel like I need to talk to somebody who really understands the way humans work, like on a biological basis, for moving toward things that are positive versus running away from things that are negative. I got to figure this out because
But they're not.
I know,
It's why the news is the news.
I
It's why
know.
the news stories are, see, I told you AI is going to kill you. Here are 3 examples where people were using it for, therapy, and it went bad. Why was it that story instead of the, 10,000 stories where it went good? Because no one will read the
That's what
10,000.
sells.
No one will read the other story.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So, maybe it has to do with empathy and being willing to kind of hold people by the hand and bring them along and sit with them, have an experience together, being hands on, being in a goes back to community.
Hmm.
It goes back to community. You can't do this stuff by yourself. You have to be able to rap with other people about it. You don't have enough hours in the day to figure everything out yourself.
Hmm.
Speaking of communities, do you want to spend our last 120 seconds talking about our communities?
Go, yes, go.
Okay. Um, so she
Come
leads
on, pick it
AI.
up, lady. We only have 2 minutes.
The mission of She Leads AI is to unite accomplished women to advance AI for global prosperity. So that is some pretty good stuff. And we do it in a number of ways, including our membership community, which I've got women, Rachel and Pamela are here in the chat. Every other woman in AI is warmly welcome to join us. And we do peer-led education, which is where the
Where
good
it's at.
stuff
Yep.
is happening.
Yep.
That's where all of the juice is at. It is not on
Absolutely.
LinkedIn. It isn't.
Absolutely.
Oh, by the way, I talked to Josh Houston today, and he said that they're pretty convinced that the people who are being successful with agentic AI are puppy guarding it from everybody else, and that's why you don't hear the success stories.
Oh, interesting. That doesn't surprise me at all.
So those are the kind of things you learn when you're in community, when you're
Yep.
talking to your friends who are AI nerds as well. So
Yep.
She Leads AI. You should come and join us, people,
Yep.
women.
Similarly, AI Salon, that's the address to our Mighty Networks community. So go join there. We just added the mastermind area, which is if you want to level up and be in a tighter, more focused community. That's starting to grow. It's really exciting what we're doing in there. So come join us. And with that, as always, Ann, this was a super pleasure.
This was a
Pleasure
super
doing it with you.
pleasure.
Thank you for your feedback. I'm this was a bit of watching the sausage be made in terms of messaging, but that's just where I am right now with it. But I'm super excited about it because there's something about making it accessible and getting people in touch with, they can improve themselves dramatically using this thing, that if I can crack the code of how to get them on the other side of it, maybe we can, I don't know, dissolve some of this malaise of wanting to try it.
Change the world. Nothing
Nah,
short of it. You know.
All right, fine.
Fine, I'll change the world.
Fine.
Thank you, everybody in the comments, for hanging out with us today. There's so many good tips in here. I don't know if you can grab these, Kyle, from YouTube, but like these are good for the Feed Your Prompt initiative.
Beautiful. All right, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Hanging
Have
out
a
with
beautiful
us.
evening.
And
Take
we
it
will
easy.
see you next time.
Bye.